Welcome to
Introverts Own Your Voice. I'm Tom Marcoux.
And I'm Johanna McLeod.
This episode is Success Secret. Use strong emotion, but stay cool. Johanna, when have you had to stay cool or calm on the outside, but you had some real strong emotions on the inside?
Well, as you know, I'm dyslexic. And going through school was pretty hard for me because everything you learn, you have to read.
Yeah, that dyslexia, it's really rough. I've heard about, someone with dyslexia, they read Word of Dog. Yeah, okay, Word of God, yes. So Johanna, I remember another conversation that we had. You had some difficulty in college.
I'm dyslexic. One time I had a teacher actually say to my face that he didn't believe I had anything wrong with me and that he thought I was faking it.
That's garbage. That's horrible. So you were furious?
Oh, I was totally furious and kind of shocked.
What was your response on the outside?
My response on the outside was just to stare at him going, "Oh my gosh, you're an idiot."
Okay, so you gave him a look that said you're an idiot, or did you just...
I just sat there with a blank face, really, as far as I could tell.
Okay, this is an important process. We call it going to neutral. That is, on the inside, you're furious, you know you're right, you know what they're doing is unfair, you know that you have perhaps an opponent or an enemy, but on the outside, you go to neutral.
Yes.
You can even tell yourself on the inside, I'm going to neutral. On the outside. On the inside, you need to be able to assess, is this a negotiation? Can I talk to this person? Or is this something else?
Something else that I would like to mention is that when I get upset, I try very hard to step out of the situation, to look at it from a different point of view so that I can think about how I want to gauge my response.
Exactly. Gauging your response or measuring your response is the old phrase. What's valuable in this conversation is we're going to give you specific insights and methods about dealing with situations, perhaps in business, in a threatening situation, that you might get a bad deal, or someone's doing something that's unfair. I want to be very specific about the idea of using strong emotion, but you stay cool on the outside. Sometimes, in order to really get something done, you need to use something on the inside, like anger or defiance or frustration. These aren't sustainable. Staying angry all the time can hurt you physically. And certainly it can hurt your relationships. But to get you out of procrastination, using strong emotion on the inside can be very helpful. Now, the other thing I want to bring to your attention is I work with my clients about developing goals. Now, it's very nice to talk about what I call golden pull goals. These are goals that pull you forward. That's all positive. That's great. But for some of my clients, at some times, a dark boot goal, that is something that kicks you right in the rear, is connected to strong emotion. And I know clients and audience members, the only thing that gets them to do their taxes paperwork is the dark boot goal of avoiding tax penalties. So if you have frustration or defiance or anger about getting tax penalties, use that energy and get the stuff done. And then finally, we have to be aware of that using anger or defiance or frustration is not sustainable. So we need what I call green tranquility goals. We need every day to have some quiet time. We need some time away from other people, particularly us as introverts. We need time away to recharge. We need time where we actually connect with what's good and beautiful and great in life on a daily basis. That's the green tranquility goals. My goal on a daily basis is to listen to some fantastic music that lifts my soul. Music is that fantastic thing that can reach directly into your heart and lift your heart. So we need all those. But remember, there is power temporarily in the strong emotion that's connected to anger, defiance, and frustration. See, you're not going to hold me back. You may have, that's an energy of defiance. Anger, this is completely unfair. And you might be right. It is completely unfair. And you need to do something about it. Get more alliances to help you deal with it. And then finally, frustration. That's it, I'm done. I'm not going to live this way anymore. Strong emotion, you can help yourself rise to a higher level. Now, we use the word amaze, so every letter is going to stand for a method. Because you can amaze yourself. Oh, wow, I really handled that situation well. Or if you do things that are very effective, what happens is you might amaze your opponent. Because they try to mess you up. They try to get you to blurt out something or to look foolish by losing your cool. Sometimes that's a negotiation tactic to make the other side look like they're foolish or unreliable or crazy or any of that kind of stuff. And you don't give them that opportunity to mess you up. So A of amaze is assess a counterparty or opponent. In certain circles in Europe, we would say it's a counterparty. That means that's another person you're talking to in the negotiation. That's different from an opponent. Specifically, you have to know, am I in a negotiation or am I in the boxing ring?
Okay. How do you tell the difference?
It's by looking at the whole situation. What is this person trying to do? Is this person temporarily upside down emotionally, but ultimately they want to come to a win-win situation? Some people have been socialized. Some people have had certain life experiences where they think it's win or lose. I win, I step on your head, you lose, that's how it goes, that's reality.
That's basically black and white thinking is how they talk about it.
That's true. It is black and white thinking, but the problem is if you're up against someone with that kind of black and white thinking, you got to protect yourself from getting your head stepped on. We need to notice something important. It's not just fight or flight. It's fight, flight, and freeze. When you are in a threatening situation, sometimes the freeze reaction will hurt you. If you were on the street and someone is threatening you, the appropriate reaction or response might be to get loud and to use curse words. To let them know this is not a victim here. It's also the way you walk around. For example, if you're in a city and you don't know where you are, you don't want to look really vulnerable and totally distracted because some criminal might say, there is a victim. You want to look like you know you're going someplace. You don't
Be deliberate.
Deliberate in your walking.
Yes.
Deliberate in your body language.
How do you look like you're on track or on purpose? Still, you're trying to find something or you're not quite sure where you're at.
Well, certainly it'd be wiser to go into a coffee shop and then to pull out your smartphone and figure out where you are while you're having a cup of coffee than being out on the street going, I don't know, I have no idea where I'm going. Taking a glance at your smartphone. Now, a glance is have it up near your face, take a glance with your eyes, but don't bury your head in it. One video I saw that one woman was so distracted, she didn't notice where she was walking and she fell into this hole in the sidewalk. Now, the hole was there because that's where they bring packages through the sidewalk into the basement. There's a banister. She hit the banister and fell right over.
Oh my gosh.
Straight into the hole.
Oh, geez.
Now, I hope she's okay. Never saw what happened, but this video shows that you got to stay aware. So we started off with assess a counterparty or opponent. Sometimes it's not just an opponent, it's an enemy. You have to be aware of this. The next letter is M. Measure your response. So that's a classic phrase, measure your response. What you do is that you don't overreact. But I already gave the idea about defending yourself or looking strong on the street. A loud, powerful response may be appropriate in that situation. However, if you're sitting at the negotiation table and someone has just used a tactic to make you irritated or annoyed or upset, you don't take the bait. And if you do find yourself feeling really upset and you can't think straight, you can say, you know, right now I do need a break. I'll be back. And so then make it seem like you're going to the restroom. And maybe you do go to the restroom and then you take some water and you put it on your face. Just to break the pattern. Now, when you catch yourself doing something, I always do this with my MBA students or with my clients or with an audience when I have them interact with each other. I always want them to notice what happened, but not make a big reaction like, oh, I just made a mistake, like that. So once again, we're going to neutral. The idea here is that you notice it, and then the next behavior you do is in the direction of firm, strong, calm, cool, effective. If you notice yourself smiling too much, trying to be ingratiating, then just have your face go to neutral for a little while. That's how you counteract what might have been an error. I'll give you another example. One of the things that we have to avoid is not giving somebody a reptile stare. Just staring in their eyes. Now, we were all
It
taught...
helps if you flick out your tongue a little bit.
Oh, avoid that. We're looking at sharing eye contact, but then naturally your eye might go to the person's hand while they're scribbling some notes. So you naturally break eye contact at some point. You don't maintain it. A is for aligning your power. For one thing, in order to be at your best, you've got to do a number of things. For example, I log my sleep. You got to stay strong. You don't want to go into a negotiation starving. You want to use the restroom before you go into a negotiation.
That was the other point I was going to make.
Yes. You keep yourself strong. You align your power, but also you realize that different types of power are necessary. And you got to align your power, which means the power has to come from you. You can't let the power be from someone else. Some people are just not for you. They don't want to help, or they don't even want to be neutral. They actually want to hurt you. And that's why earlier in this conversation, realize, are you in a negotiation or a boxing ring?
Yeah, that was what I told you earlier about the teacher. They didn't believe that I had a problem with learning or anything. And that teacher actually graded me harder because of that.
Right. You might have to get your advisor to interact with the teacher. Call for a meeting with all three of you. So that you can be in that meeting, so you can see what your advisor actually says to this person while they do all this protesting. I've seen other students try to get out of work or try to get more time for a test. Now, some people are just not wired to do tests as easily as other people are.
That's my problem.
Right. The point, though, is by staying calm, not yelling, saying, "You jerk."
It was tempting.
Right. How dare you imply that I'm faking? But you say, I have heard what you said, and I need to have a conversation with my advisor about this. So I bid you a good afternoon. Now, there's no fear expressed there. There's no disrespect expressed there. There's no loss of your personal control, but it's also firm, like saying, this is what's happening next. I need to talk with my advisor about this. And if the advisor doesn't help you enough, then it may be time to go see the college president. Now, fortunately, in a number of situations, we can bring this kind of discrimination, really, in this situation.
I've had a lot of that.
Okay. We can bring it to certain authorities' attention, and if you start at the top, often that might help, because they want you not to impinge on their time. So they will get it handled right away. Like maybe the college president will refer to the vice president, and the vice president will be right on top of this. That kind of thing. Now, Z stands for zero in on what the counterparty really wants. You see, if you pay close attention to body language and tonality, how the person sounds, the pacing of their voice, you can find out through lots of observations what they really want. Now, the challenge is that some people will concentrate on one piece or one detail of body language. Oh, their arms are folded. They might be cold. You need to look at the whole cluster. You need to see how they respond to certain questions, how they respond to certain ideas. Maybe what the counterparty really wants is not to get fired by their superior. So therefore, you can make things work. You can say, if you agree to this and we do this efficiently, then I'm sure you'll look good to your superior. Or maybe the person just wants you to go away. And you can say, look, we could solve this in just 5 minutes if we use either this or that as a solution. The whole idea is zero in on what your counterparty really wants. E is energize yourself. I have a phrase, measure by your heart, not by their approval. I share that again. Measure by your heart, not their approval. Your power comes from inside you, or if you're a spiritual person, then from higher power, that kind of thing. You can't give away your power, particularly to opponents or enemies. Now, the sad thing here is people are mislabeling people all the time. Twitter is a spittoon of complaints.
Jeez.
Or social media in general. One sentence put on Twitter can release a firestorm of controversy and anger.
And sometimes when you grow and you mature, you actually change your opinion on things.
Exactly. For many people, Twitter might be a place where they just put links to an article. See, at least your words would be in the context of the whole article.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't even finish reading the articles.
That's true. And the problem is that you have to realize that maybe this person, if they had read the whole article, they might respond to you, one person to another. But they stopped at the one sentence that bothered them. For a person who really wants to make a huge positive impact, you're not going to be able to help everybody. And you're not going to be able to have everybody understand you as your real self. And that's part of this discussion about making sure that you use any strong emotion inside you, but you stay cool on the outside. So Johanna, what are you going to keep from this conversation?
Well, I really like the feeling of being able to keep calm when you're in a negotiation and being able to realize, are you in a boxing ring or are you just talking?
Right, exactly. It gets to be dangerous if your shock response prevents you from responding appropriately. A response is something that is thought out. It is something that is measured. It is not a reaction.
Yes.
A reaction is something that happens almost like reflex. Now, some people get into a space, maybe they're hungry, and the important thing that we need to look at is that you need to know when you're impaired. Inside yourself, you need to admit it to yourself so that you can do something about it, or you can get yourself out of the situation. Certain conversations with certain family members are not appropriate when you're stuck in one of these things called HALT, H-A-L-T, which is probably telling you stop
Yes.
or get out of here.
Yes.
HALT, hunger, anger, loneliness, tiredness. If you're in any of those spaces, hunger, anger, loneliness, tiredness, stop. Stop what you're doing. Get out of the situation. Say, I need to take a break. In order to be at your best, you have to make sure that you are, as much as possible, strong and not held back by these other things. This is a good time for a Marcoux moment. That's when I share an excerpt from one of my 47 books on Amazon. The book here is Soar, Nothing Can Stop You This Year. On page 25, there's an interesting insight. Some of us have set traditional goals, but we haven't moved forward fast and well like we want to. So the question on page 25 is, are you a for the team person? And here's the excerpt. I say for the team because many of us will do more for family members or friends than for ourselves. If you're this kind of person, you may have found that setting traditional goals for your personal enrichment has not worked. If you set goals that enrich your life plus your family's life, you will find your hidden power in those goals. So that closes this excerpt from my book, Soar, Nothing Can Stop You This Year. When you're able to use strong emotions to make sure you stay safe and that you protect what you need to protect in your business or your life or another person, and at the same time on the outside stay cool, because that'll make you look like you're a good leader, and it'll make you look like a professional, and it'll make you look like someone that can be trusted. And so trust is the center of developing the right relationships that create a high level of success. So thank you, Johanna.
Thank you, Tom.
For articles and videos, go to getthebigyes.com. Also, visit yourbodysoulandprosperity.com. We're glad that you heard this broadcast, and we invite you to
Click to subscribe.
and then you'll be supporting me and Johanna and our message.
And so now remember,
Introverts can show their best self with strategy.
I'm Johanna McLeod.
I'm Tom Marcoux.
Thank you.
Be well.
Bye.